It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
Walking on the wild side, she's so complex, she's on fire, fire, the heat is coming on, the girl's on fire, fire, she burn all night long, the high heel sneakers.
Oh, Karen Kwiatkowski. Little Miss Dangerous. Little Miss, a lot of dangerous. You know, Karen Kwiatkowski, I want to get right to you. You know, help me out understanding what's going on here, because the battle is that I can see it starting to amp up to where you have the separation is, look, man, this political process, who in the heck is wasting? Why are you so worried? Blah, blah, blah. And we're more worried about changing the culture, people being experienced in what's going on. And we can take advantage of this opportunity to show how bad the whole thing is, while some people inside are going, look, man, there's an opportunity here for us to actually win. And I got to ask, win what, how, and why is it important? Help me out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, Ron Paul's running for president, okay, president of the United States, and he's running for the Republican nomination. If Ron Paul goes up against Obama, statistics show he will win. Statistics also show there, the polling, I should say, not statistics, but the numbers that we're getting from polling and the projections tell us that if any other Republican who's not named Ron Paul goes up against Obama, Obama wins. So it is about an electable president. You know, we have Obama, and there's one guy that can beat him, and that's Ron Paul, if the Republican Party could decide to get behind him. The Republican Party, of course, hates Ron Paul. They also hate Michelle Bachmann, okay? They hate anybody who won't vote to give them more money to spend. It won't go along with the crowd. It won't do as they're told. Michelle Bachmann is popular. She's not a Ron Paul. She's very much a neocon, but she's popular because many of her campaign features and the things that she talks about are what the actual people in this country want. Now, the parties themselves don't care what the people want. The parties are in it for continuation of the status quo, and that's the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. And frankly, Obama has done exactly what Bush did in 8 years. He's continued the trajectory of George W. He's Bush 3, okay? And the question is, do we get a Bush 4? It could be Obama. It could be some other Republican, although that person won't win against Obama, so then we have Bush 3 in the form of Obama. Or you can put Ron Paul up there. Now, since the numbers, and you mentioned many of these polls and straw polls and other types of surveys where Ron Paul is extremely, he's successful against his Republican competitors. But what's happening is because it's increasing in kind of a exponential way from 4 years ago. I mean, his numbers in the Iowa straw poll were quadrupled. So that's kind of an exponential increase just on a small scale. But his name is known, the kinds of things he talks about, and the Fed. People actually know now. They didn't know what the Fed was 4 years ago. Most Americans had no clue. Today, they not only have a clue, they agree with Ron Paul that it should be audited, and its activities should be made more public, and that we should understand what it is they're doing when they create money out of thin air, and who they're giving this money to. These are questions now that average Americans actually are interested in. They want to know. Only guy that ever talks about that's Ron Paul. So now what you have is a very frightened establishment, and that's what you're seeing. And that in terms of criticism or voices that are saying, well, no matter how popular Ron Paul is, there's no way he can be elected. That's what you're hearing. And the weird thing is, I shouldn't say weird, but the informative thing is, the illustrative thing is, you're hearing that not just from the traditional part of the Republican Party, you're hearing it also from the libertarian side of the House. You're hearing it from the anarchist side of the House. Well, this is all stupid. He's not really telling, they say Ron Paul's not telling the truth. He doesn't really mean those things. He's just a typical politician. And of course, those of us who have followed Ron Paul and have studied him and who believe in his candidacy, we believe that he's not just telling the truth, but he's walking the walk, and that he has a plan, a real plan for peacefully, and this is something you were talking about with those cops, peacefully transitioning back into a republic. There's only one guy that can do it peacefully. That's Ron Paul. So I guess the real question is, do you like Ron Paul, or do you want to see basically a huge collapse with plenty of conflict and plenty of violence and plenty of danger and plenty of starvation here in this country? That's really the alternative.
Karen, while you're talking, what brought to mind, I'm sitting here searching for a graphic. For those on video, I put it up, It's the graphic that says Dr. Paul's sitting up in the left-hand corner in this cartoon. It says, "As your doctor, I wouldn't advise it." And it has this GOP elephant in a suit there with a gun to his head, and it says McCain on the gun. And it's just like, hey, as your doctor, I wouldn't advise, doing this. Well, they did anyway, okay?
They did.
So as we look back at this, and I'm going, I always remember this as when you say, in comparison to Obama, any of the other candidates, are
a vote for Obama.
Yeah,
if
they're
the
different.
Republicans select any of the other candidates, I don't care which other the Republicans, you can take any one of them. They all have terrible, terrible flaws. Even the ones like Michelle Bachmann who say some of the right things, and even the ones like Rick Perry who says, I don't like the Fed. I'd like to repeal the 16th and the 17th Amendments. These are wonderful ideas, but Rick Perry doesn't believe those things. He only says that because they're trying desperately to figure out what makes Ron Paul popular and how they can try to steal some of that popularity, but they can't. What makes Ron Paul popular is that he actually believes in what he says, and it's very fundamental and common sense type stuff, and it's the correction. It is what the doctor ordered for this country in terms of our recovery. And
okay, now let me inject this. Now, this is what the problem really is. It's not whether he would be embraced by the people. I mean, if all of a sudden Fox News and CNN and MSNBC and everybody came out, hey, everybody wants us to stop the wars, pull in the empire, get the sound money, blah, 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 polls say, and we support, and gosh darn it, and guess what? He's your man. Boom, he shoots to the top. It's a fait accompli. It's all done. Ron Paul's the winner. We already know now. Yay! But that's not going to happen. Why? And this is what they're saying. They're going, look, the establishment will do any and everything to make sure that this doesn't happen because it needs to happen.
Well, that's partly because the establishment is going down, and they're benefiting from a status quo. And the only way to get a status quo is to have an Obama, a George Bush, or a Rick Perry, or even a Michelle Bachmann, someone that will continue the wars, someone that will continue the spending. Even as they say they're not, they will continue it. And Ron Paul's serious. And so, this is very frightening to the establishment. And when I say establishment, I mean
very frightening. Tell me what happens to frightened people.
Well, I mean, they do lots of different things.
Damn Skippy, they do.
Yeah, and sometimes they... now, what we really should be talking about is not so much frightened people, but frightened governments. And frightened governments do extremely desperate and dangerous things, often to their citizens and sometimes to people that aren't their citizens. And this is really what we have to worry about. But
Syria. We're getting ready to do regime change in Syria. Then we get Gorbachev talking about Putin. I'm like, wow, they want a third world war.
Well, of course they do. That
need
is
it.
the only way. Well, if people, we can't afford. Heck, the American people don't even want the foreign aid to go out, much less the wars. It's very clear from polls that Americans want the troops back from Iraq and Afghanistan. That's not even new news. They've wanted them back for many years now. I mean, Obama ran on a campaign to bring the troops home, and he was elected with a good percentage in part because many people wanted that to happen.
When we come back, Karen Kwiatkowski is going to go ahead and talk about her campaign and how it dovetailing into this. I got to tell you this real quick. I saw a poll, a promotional piece came out from the Arizona GOP saying that, we want to bring everybody home and stop the empire and everything, except for Iraq and Afghanistan. Seriously?
Yeah,
Seriously. Oh, man, it keeps getting weirder. We'll be right back.